Welcome back to Preparing for the Unexpected. Today we are talking with risk thought leader, author and consultant and lecturer, Dr. Fayadh Alenezi. Fayadh, great first and second segment, talking about risk and talking about mindset. And you've mentioned this word a couple of times now, presilience. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so Presilience is a concept created by Dr. Gavf Schneider and his team in Risk to Solution, Australia. It's a brilliant framework. I call it a recipe for success. Is it's a set of tools and techniques that change mindset, really. And Presilience really is not something you need to jump into immediately, right? It doesn't work if organization is struggling with compliance or resilience. So you first need to get your basics right because they are the basics of resilience. So you need, your policies, your controls, your continuity plans, you make sure that they actually work before you move to the proactive layer of resilience. So think of resilience as like a progression. So compliance makes you, legally sound. Resilience makes you, operationally strong. If something happened, you can bounce back. And now resilience makes you strategically proactive. So it's resilience, it's the missing piece that organization need to be really proactive, really anticipate about the future, really study and navigate the uncertainty around us, anticipate the disruptions. We don't want to, bounce backwards when disruption happens. I need to make sure that my people, my values, beliefs, processes, all align and all ready when disruption happens so we can take the most benefit out of it. So that's like my like basic understanding of resilience, and I'm looking forward to speak about resilience next month in a conference.
Yes, wish I was going to be there to see it, but next time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there's so many different pieces of the Presilience model. Which one do you think uh, is the best for you? And or do you suggest people to kind of start if they want to start adopting a Presilience mindset, changing their mindset like we talked about in segment two, and seeing risk as an opportunity, where should people kind of start?
They should start with themselves because resilience does not work if you don't believe in it, if you don't have that mindset of, if you don't recognizing your biases, your emotions, if you don't get yourself together in your own situations at home, you're not going to be doing good in our organization. So in order to build a good, resilient mindset, you need to start with yourself. Ask better questions, adjust, be flexible, be agile, look around you, consider different perspectives. Don't be rigid to just one idea that you think is right. So Presilience opens that, cracks that proactive, layer in your mind to be agile, to be flexible. And if you take one aspect of the Presilience model, which is the triangle, I love it, the hindsight, insight, and foresight. That triangle by itself can solve many problems, especially in risk management. It gives you an eye to look at the future, an eye to consider the past, and a big eye to consider what you're having now, and you mix that with your processes and people and values, then you make either action or inaction.
Looking at oneself, though, that can be one of the hardest things to do, though, right? It's easy to look in a mirror, but sometimes you don't like what you see.
But that's the reality, right? You need to look back at the mirror. You need to, also looking forward. So just take a glimpse at the back, and because it's a history, it's a data that it may help you, shape goals, change behavior, and consider trends.
What about any other let's see, how do I ask this? If okay, if we're starting with ourselves, we're not just looking at ourselves and trying to change ourselves. Do we have to also be aware of what's influencing us and why we're behaving the way we are? So that
you
we're looking
should you
outward.
should consider.
Yeah, we're looking outwards to change inwards,
Sure.
if that makes
You
sense.
have to look at all the influencers around you. Yeah. So you have to look around the influencers around you. So that's why, even, the training, if we talk about the training in risk dissolution, the basic course that we took, the grad cert, it's really focusing on yourself. And if you just check, our guys there, when we discuss presentations and all this, they all have common thing, which is if we had known Presilience 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it would have been different.
Yeah.
Because now you're changing mindsets, you're changing your ideas, because now 5 years ago, you didn't care about alignment. You didn't care about considering balance, process, and people, right? Because at that time we didn't think it was not important, even though at that time it may have caused some problems.
Right.
But now with the alignment, you start to see the real problems just because of the misalignment itself. So just imagine these pieces when you try to do diagnostic into yourself. Do I have alignment between me and my family?
Mm.
Are we having, aligned values or not? Am I helping my kids to be raised differently or not? Am I helping, my family, my friends to change, their mindset? Is it necessary to do that or not?
Hmm.
You start to looking at these little things that can change you because you are a variable in this environment, right? So if you don't influence them and let them influence you, you're not going to be different.
It kind of reminds me of what you were saying in segment two, or was it segment one? But about risk management. There's your work life and your work personality and your home personality, and you have to bring them together because you're going to create your own conflict if you don't. So starting with yourself can balance those two out and make
True,
them stronger, right? It's not trying
true.
to, when I leave the office, I shut everything off. Well, if you shut everything off, you're shutting yourself off,
Yeah.
right?
And I remember Gav said very important message that's still in my mind. Just imagine the amount of work you need to put in your own relationship and the amount of effort that you need to put to sustain it, to
Yeah,
put it on it's a lot of work.
yeah,
It's a lot of work dealing with people, with emotions, the roller coaster of, emotions in people. It's a tough job.
yeah.
It's a tough job outside organization, more than inside. So if you don't excel at that, it's a tough job. That's, we need to be patient. We need to, embrace the uncertainty. consider different perspective, work on that. It's a tough job. How can how can we expect you to change a team or organization or a nation, right? If
Yeah.
you don't sustain your own relationship. It starts with that. It starts with yourself. It starts with your own people at home, right?
Mm,
if you can't play, the resilient guy in your own life and be, influencing and connecting, and sharing ideas and balancing processes, values, and all this, how are you going to excel at doing that with, tens and hundreds of people?
right.
So it really starts with yourself. Invest in yourself, really.
Yeah. And if you do that, people will see you change. 2 years ago, if I had brought this up in front of Fayadh, he would have gone crazy on me. Now he's calm, he's listening to me, and now I feel he's more approachable, and I want to share other ideas with him now. I'm not afraid
True.
to approach Fayadh anymore. So you end up influencing and changing others.
True. And that's the beauty of Presilience. It has different sets of skills, or tools, I would say, especially psychological tools, such as like priming and framing. We didn't know about that
Yeah,
before. We didn't know, how important it is, especially in risk management. If I'm going to present, a big report, and, the boss or the leader is not having a good day, it's going to be, terrible outcome, right?
yeah,
So that's purely priming and framing experiment. If I knew this, it would have been different. The outcome would have been different. So these one of the tools that you can play around to change outcomes, to influence outcomes. It's all about influence, right?
right,
So process is just a process. It's all about people. That's why it's a human centric, because that's the goal of success. People, if you don't get them together to work in your side, the chance of success is less.
right. Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Do you have any final thoughts or ideas you'd like to share about any of the topics we covered today?
Thank you very much, first, Alex, for the opportunity. uh, just as a final thought, risk management is not something to fear. It's something we do every day. It's something, uh, it's a life skill. Why do we afraid of uncertainty? It's something to leverage, it's an advantage. Just imagine that there is no uncertainty. There is no strategic, competitive advantage. There is no growth if there is no uncertainty. So it's something gold that we need to leverage, something that we need to get ourselves used to deal with it, right? Uncertainty. It's a nice word. And if we take just uncertainty and unpack it in all different types and kinds and ways, we're gonna, need hours. But embrace uncertainty. Don't be afraid. Think of risk as, the four-letter word that I explained in segment one, respect, integrate, seek, and know. If you don't respect it, it's not gonna it's gonna be against you. So that's kind of my message, out of this.
Well, thank you so much, Fayadh, for sharing your thoughts and ideas today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And congratulations on our cohort, because as I mentioned at the beginning, you and I were in the same course. So I look forward to carrying that forward and continuing this.
Thank you
And
very much.
everyone who's listening and watching, I do recommend you follow Dr. Fayadh. He's posted some really interesting articles about all of this over the last little while. So please check him out on LinkedIn. That's where you can find him, right? That's the best place to reach you if anyone has questions.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm all there.
Well, thank you so much again, Fayad. I really appreciate it. And everyone watching and listening, stay prepared, everybody.